Hi, this is djthomaswhite, and I just want to give a little bit of a demo here of the Teenage Engineering OP-1. The 2012 Winter NAMM show is next weekend, and I'm pretty excited the Teenage Engineering guys are going to be there, and as one of the beta testers of the unit, I hope that they have some cool new stuff for us here at the show. So anyways, I want to take a look at where things stand. I get a lot of questions on my YouTube channel about what I'm doing in the videos that I make and what this thing can do. So instead of talking about the different features that it has, you can look those up online on all the different videos. I kind of want to take a second to put a little piece together and show you some of the different ways to do that and kind of go over some of the operational aspects of how the unit works. So I've got it turns onto the tape screen, and I've got something pre-recorded to the tape already that I need to get rid of, so I'm going to reformat all 4 tracks of tape, which I use Shift, Tape, and then all 4 of the 1 through 4 keys. And this will erase everything on tape, and it does take a second. So some of the questions I get are, why do we use, for the users, all of us users of this OP-1, why do we like the OP-1? What's so special about it? And my answer every time is that it's a connection to the sound. I'm a producer that started with hardware, and of course moved with technology into the computer, and got into a rut, frankly, where I was looking at my music to have it look like the song before, and to be doing things that were familiar to me visually. And it's not that I didn't stop listening to music, but I certainly started doing things a certain way, instead of just jamming out and having fun. And that's how I started making music, and why I want to make music in general. So this instrument really lets you get back to that vibe. Yeah, there are instruments that can do different and better sounds than this, but it's not about that. It's about that it's this big. It's a little portable, sturdily built unit that I can take with me in the car, or have in my lap here on the couch, or wherever, and it's got a lot of flavor to it, where you can compose full songs, or you can actually get in there and just start something to put into a digital audio workstation, DAW, and take it from there. So anyways, got the OP-1 cleared out. I want to get started on working on something. So usually you got to start with some drums. So let's take a look at the drum sounds. And this happens to be the house drum kit from Loopmasters that's been uploaded to the Teenage Engineering Library section of the website for free. So there's some sounds, and I like to make on-time beat-oriented music. I am a DJ. I do play out. There's a video of me actually playing with my OP-1 with my beat-oriented house music at a club up here on YouTube, and it's a lot of fun to do that. So I try to make my music where it's beat-locked so it can be mixed. Just a personal preference. You can do things however you want, but for this example today, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn the sequencer on here, the pattern sequencer on for the beats, and you'll see this white arrow indicates what note is playing, and we'll find a kick drum that we want to use. You can clear a pattern by holding Shift and turning the blue encoder. You see the eraser icon comes up in the corner there, and you can navigate the pattern with the arrows back and forth. You can actually turn hold on and run the pattern and record along with it, but I kind of prefer to step right myself, so let's do that. To enter notes, you hold down Shift, and you can see the green dots are going in there, and if I hold down Shift, you can see all these notes going in. If I want to take notes out, I just cursor back to them and hit that note again, and you can remove the note. So right now we have 4 kicks in there, and we turn this on like this. You can see we've got a typical 4/4 loop. So let's add a backbeat. Just go with whatever's here on the backbeat key assignment. Oh, get a hi-hat going. And for any of you familiar with the Roland sequencers or any of the classic drum machines, programming in this fashion is actually very familiar. So as I play this back, got a typical house loop. And you can take a listen to some of these other sounds here. So if I want to put this clap in over the top, I can hold Shift. And so pretty straight up loop. So I'm going to put some swing time, which you do with the green knob. Okay, that's about right. So while I've got it playing in this mode, just to show you some of the different modes available in pattern sequencing, you hold Shift, you see the arrow icon comes up, you can turn the orange knob, going forward then reverse, reverse in general, but in this case let's go forward. With the endless note sequencer you can also do those modes and random to randomly go between the notes. So let's turn hold off. And we'll go back to the tape mode, pick a track, one of the 4 tracks available. All the tracks are mono. And go back to the beginning of the tape. You can see the little center icon right at the beginning of the tape here, 0, 0, 0. And we're going to hit the 1 key, which also is the in for setting a loop. And we're going to hold Shift and press the arrow. Let's go over 2 bars and hit the out key. Now we've got a loop set up there. And this will allow us to loop this section of tape over and over again. And so now this is the answer. One of the questions I get a lot is how do you get the beats to start on time? And it's actually very simple. So here in tape mode we're not going to start the tape, but we've got that drum sequence set up. And you just hold a key to play it. And you can pitch it down or change the pitch of it based on what key you hit. So how do we get the loop in time? Well, it's as simple as holding record and starting the loop with the key, and it will start the recording right on time and in time with the music. And just to show you the time of the music, I've got this set up for 124 beats a minute with the beat match locked in, and we'll get this loop laid down and move on to another sound. So just like that, that's now looped in on track 1. Typically I'll separate my kick out because you do have some options to mute tracks. If you hold Shift and hit any of the track numbers, they turn gray and it actually mutes them. Or you can solo stuff by holding the keys down while things are playing back, and it will solo that track or any combination of the tracks that you're holding the buttons down for. You do also have on the right hand side this gain control. And it's pretty necessary to use this when you're using some of the synthesizer sounds. And a lot of times that's because if you program synthesizer sounds from any of the engines in unison or with heavy effects, you're going to need to dial that down so you're not clipping any of the internal gain of the instrument. And this is a sum gain. It's good for all the sounds. It basically is a very useful tool when you're trying to lay your stuff down to tape. There is also, just really quickly to cover the mixer section for the 4 tracks, you got a 3-band EQ, there is a main effects which I have off at this time, and then there is an internal mains compressor which I have it to drive about 30. It's pretty low key, and something that you can get a lot of cool effects from the compressor, but we'll move on to that at another time. So let's figure out what else we want to do with this song. So we probably need to get like let's go with the house vibe. So let's do like a house chord. And one of the things that house music has is and uses a lot, because a lot of people like myself are not classically trained musicians, so we use things like chord memory. Well, the OP-1 doesn't have chord memory built in, but you can fake it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to go to the cluster engine, and this sound is a sound I made called Love Chord. And it just played mono notes right there, but you might say to you might be wondering how we're going to do this chord memory. Well, it's as simple as you turn on the endless sequencer, and I have a sequence in here already. I can play this and show you. That's from something else. What we're going to do today is replace this. So let me do a chord here that we can go with. I'm going to hold Shift, which will allow me to start inputting notes, and I'm going to hold down this chord, and it's not just a single note it's going to record, it's going to actually record this chord. And I'm going to push this right arrow to hold the chord all the way to 16. So now I've got that chord held for 16 steps, and you can start it and let it go at any time. So let me just show you. Instead of holding all 4 keys, so just like that. So now we can go back to our tape. Okay, so I'm going to be on track 2. Let's just play this and see how the levels sound. Okay, that's about right, so I'm going to start a recording. Okay, so I've got that recorded, and here's another question that I get through the YouTube videos. What if you record something you don't like? Well, as long as I'm on track 2, you can see the blue line indicates that there's something recorded on track 2. And I'm going to solo track 2 by hitting the 2 button and navigate back and forth through the music. If I want to lift that out and try something over again, play it in a bit different, I can do that just by hitting the lift key. For PC users and Mac users, think of this as the cut, and then the drop key is kind of like the paste. If you hold Shift and lift, it will lift out all 4 tracks at the same time, and then you just hit the paste, the drop key, and it will paste them all. You don't have to hit Shift and drop to paste anything. There is also the cut key, scissors key, which you can use to cut things in the middle, and you can always navigate through your pieces on time as long as you're doing grid-based music with the Shift and the arrow keys. So let's go ahead and re-record this chord back in. Okay, so now this is going. I'm going to overdub this higher bit, and I can record like this and re-record over the whole thing, or just kind of momentarily hold record and play the note in. Let's go to track 3. Alright, let's try and find another sound here that we want to put with this. So, digital engine. Also, one quick note, if you want to change octaves, you just hit the arrow keys up and down. And if you want pitch bend, hold the Shift and the arrow keys. Alright, let's turn the sequencer off because it was doing chord memory there. Take a look at the other engines. There's phase, and this is pulse. This is the string engine, and let me see what patch we got going with this. Oh, deep space, perfect. This is the one I want to use, I think. This is a patch I made today, and check this patch out. This is a string engine. It's meant to do string sounds, but you can also get things like this. pretty fantastic. Okay, so let's see if we can get something going with this over the top of the tune. Might be too high there. Let's just try it like this and see what happens. I'm gonna bring the level of the keys down. Yeah, we can use this. Okay, so I want to make the clips of the tape a little bit longer. And this also addresses one of the questions from YouTube. So I'm going to hold Shift, I'm going to put Lift, and now all of my clips are gone. They're in the memory waiting to be dropped. So I'm going to drop the clips there, drops them right in place where they were. And just to be safe, because I'm kind of anal in regards to making sure my music's on time, I'm gonna bounce forward and bounce back, so when I drop the next section, it is dropping right on the exact start beat. I'm gonna do this a few times here. Okay, so now one other thing to note is you can see as I navigate backwards through the music here that the tracks that are there are highlighted. If I want to just loop that particular current section of music, I can hold Shift and loop, and it will set the loop point right to the piece that's highlighted. And so it's sensitive to whatever track you're on. These pieces are all the same length, but if you have a 4-bar piece and a 2-bar piece and a 1-bar piece, whatever track is selected, the length of the piece that's highlighted right there is what will determine the loop point. So I'm going to hit stop, and it'll take me here, but I want to go all the way back to the beginning of the piece so that I can set the loop point to go from the very end where it's set now all the way to the very beginning of the piece. So I'm going to hold stop and hit arrow, left arrow, and it takes me back to the beginning where I'll hit in. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of music that we've lifted and dropped, cut and paste, whatever verbiage you want to use. Lift and drop are the technical TE terms. So that's something that you can do based on your preference. So let's play this, and I want to make sure my volume's good, make sure my synth is selected. Alright, I'm going to hit hold record and hit play, and it'll start right on time. And see, because the keys are legato in the synth mode, which you can find here on the envelope screen if you hold Shift, actually they're poly, so I'm going to need to play those a little bit different. So let me go back to the tape. I'm going to lift that out. There is a maximum of 90 seconds lift time, so if you've got a really long clip in there and you want to lift it out, you got to be careful with that. You'll have to cut it into pieces to lift it out, or reformat your tape, and if you do that, you'll lose everything. So try and keep your pieces while you're trying to navigate and lift things to be 90 seconds or less. So let's record this in again. Chord, play. Okay. Okay, so that's in. So let's take a look for a bass sound now. Maybe we'll be able to use this FM bass here. You go to track 4. just hit record and play the space in. So that's it. Okay, so I've got a basic loop going. What I could do at this point, you got a number of options. You could take that idea, you could dump it into your friendly DAW, your Reason, your Logic, your Pro Tools, whatever you got going that works for you. You could even actually set the input of the OP-1 to, with the blue indicator here, set that to the ear. You could sample the whole 6 seconds of the loop if you use the synth sampler, 12 seconds if you use the drum sampler. You could sample a portion of that right back into the OP-1 and have it in your sampler ready to go, so that you could have that on one track as a compilation piece and then use 3 tracks to build up on top of your loop. But that's a bit more complicated. We can get into that at another time, because this really is just a summary video and it's already kind of getting a bit long. So here's the radio. So just in case you want to know how to sample from the radio, it's as simple as this. I'm going to turn the radio on. I'm going to go to the synthesizer, pick the sampler engine, go activate the mic, or the input, which at this point is the radio, and we should be able to hold this key and just sample. So it so that can be anything. If I were to want to sample the microphone, go back here, set to the internal microphone. Now I've got the mic at the top recording, and I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit here, so it'll pick up my my low volume voice here in my living room. And let's just let's sample something to maybe put with this song. Who knows? So let's see. House is the way to make your body move. House is the way. House. All right, who knows? Let's go back to the tape. Okay, it's a little bit quiet, so I'm going to go back to that particular sound. I'm going to boost the gain up quite a bit here with Shift and the red knob. All right. House is the way. House is the way. House is the way. House is the way. Let's do a little advanced little session here. So I'm going to go back to track 2. I'm going to boost the volume. Back to my sample. Now I've just got house. just like that. So let's just recap. We've covered how to make a beat loop, how to get that beat loop synced to tape, how to navigate your different synth patches and drum patches, how to record multiple tracks of tape, how to lift and drop tape in sections, how to change loop points, how to add loop points on the fly, and how to keep everything on beat, as well as a little bonus section on how to sample to the Synth sampler. And again, Synth sampler gives you one sample with chromatic tuning that's 6 seconds maximum length. Drum sampler gives you a 12-second sample that you can map in and out points of each of the different keys, and you can duplicate stuff. You can get really kind of funky with that, and that's how the drum kits work in here. So we covered a lot of stuff. In summary, I'm amazed with the OP-1. I'm sold on it. I'm bought in. It's for me. It's what I need right now. It gets me out of the box. I've got productions right now coming out that have been started on the OP-1, dumped into the computer, and then kind of plussed up and arranged with different reverbs and different arrangements and automation and things like that. But I've also got stuff that I've worked on with just the OP-1, and is in the works to come out officially here on one of my albums with my Santoma project. So anyways, this thing is amazing. The Teenage Engineering crew are very supportive. They've addressed many of the issues that the community has had. I personally haven't had any issues. They've been nothing but supportive, and the product has been as quality as I thought it would be. So again, NAMM show next weekend. The days I'm counting down, and I'm really excited, hoping these guys bring something next level to the show. And you can bet if they do, I'll be one of the first trying to get my grubby hands on it and learn it and make a video for you all. So thanks for stopping by and checking out another one of my videos.